Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the invitation to be part of your protest today. I'm very pleased to be able to say that in Sydney today we are part of other protests that are happening around Australia, and indeed other protests that are happening around the world, to tell the world's leaders and to tell our own leaders here that Hazaras should be safe and they should be free in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, Australia, wherever they live. In the last week I've been able to be part of helping organise protests inside the Curtin Detention Centre and inside the Darwin Detention Centre. Over 100 Hazara asylum seekers inside Darwin Detention Centre organised a protest, a peaceful protest inside Darwin, to say to the government of Pakistan, the government of Afghanistan, and as I said, to our own leaders in Australia, that what is happening, the killings have to stop. They have to stop in Afghanistan, they have to stop in Pakistan, and they have to stop in Australia, and it is a tragedy that inside our own detention centres Hazaras are being killed. The Australian government is part of an occupying force in Afghanistan. But we know, and you know even better than we in the Refugee Action Coalition, you know as well as I do, that Afghanistan is not safer because of the occupation. That Pakistan is not safer because of the occupation. In fact, in Afghanistan and Pakistan, the security situation, not just for Hazaras, but for many, many people, is getting worse, not better. And that's why from the Refugee Action Coalition, we're most active with the asylum seekers who come to Australia seeking Australia's protection. And it is an absolute tragedy when you look at what the Australian government is doing to our Hazara asylum seekers. And I think what we know is that when they're treating Hazara asylum seekers in our own detention centres so badly, we know they're not doing enough. In Pakistan, talking to the government of Pakistan or talking to the government of Afghanistan to say that Hazaras in those countries have to be safe. If they were safe, if they were safe there, then there wouldn't be need to get on the boats and come to Australia. People only flee from Afghanistan and from Pakistan and from Iran and other places because there is no security for Hazara people. There is no safety, there is no protection. And when they come to Australia, doesn't matter how they come to Australia, they should be welcome here. They should be welcomed in the Australian community. So we gather here today to send a very strong message to Julia Gillard and to Chris Bowen and to Tony Abbott. That it's no to the Malaysia solution, it's no to Nauru. The only place that asylum seekers should be processed is in Australia and in the Australian community. We're not going to change Julia Gillard for Tony Abbott when he wants to reintroduce temporary protection visas, when he wants to reopen Nauru. We saw too many young Hazara people forcibly, really coerced from Nauru and sent back to Afghanistan. We're not going to have that again. That is simply not acceptable in Australia. And it is a shame. I stand here ashamed of my own government to say that last week we saw a Hazara man actually deported back to Pakistan. Now we know it's not safe. He knows it's not safe. In his own family, the day before he was removed from Villawood Detention Centre to Pakistan, his father was killed the day before. In May this year, his son, his 12-year-old son, was shot in Quetta. He's injured in Quetta and still suffering from those injuries. And yet the Australian government grabbed that man from Villawood and sent him back to Pakistan. And that is an absolute shame, and we have to make sure that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen anymore. Shame, Australia, shame. Shame, Julia Gillard, shame. It is a terrible, terrible crime. The fact that even as we stand here today, there are two other Hazara people that I know in Villawood Detention Centre that are facing the threat of being removed. And to Ismail and to Musa and to the other Hazara asylum seekers all across Australia, we're saying we will do everything we can possibly do to make sure that the Australian government does not send people back to Pakistan or to Afghanistan. Their memorandum of agreement they have with the Afghan government should be torn up. Should be torn up. The last 3 weeks, and it's conservative as Abdul said before, it's conservative, but there were 65, at least 65 Hazaras have been killed in Afghanistan and in Pakistan, and that's a conservative estimate. We know those countries are not safe, and as long as those countries are not safe, people are going to seek to come here, and we have to make sure that people are safe when they come to Australia. We do not want to see any more Hazara asylum seekers to have their mental health ruined, to have their souls destroyed, or as we've seen in Curtin and Shergar, people actually taking their own lives because they are desperate about their situation and the situation for their families in Pakistan and Afghanistan. That is not going to happen anymore. We see the Australian government, and on the front pages there was a big issue about taking cattle from Australia and to Indonesia. They were willing to stop the export of cattle from Australia to Indonesia because they saw how badly cattle were being treated in Indonesia. Why are we not seeing the same response for human beings? We know how human beings are treated in Pakistan and Afghanistan. If it's good enough for cattle, it's more than good enough for human beings. So we're asking you to be part, to join us on October the 15th. We're organising another rally in support of the asylum seekers. We hope that some of you can come along, even lead the march. It would be great to see. And we're going to be sending a message just like from this one, that free the Hazara in Afghanistan, free them in Pakistan, free them in Australia.